Hello, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson with Transgender and Diverse Veterans of America Action Group, primarily. Glad you're here with us today. Thank you for being here. Also, I just want to make sure you have this disclaimer out there that all the opinions expressed here are mine and not necessarily those of any particular organization, agency, department, government, or anybody else. They're just strictly my opinions. And if you're under the age of 18, leave. So, having said all that, today we want to jump into a couple of things that are taking place that we need to continue our conversation on, I should say. And that would be with Project 2025. This thing is horrendous. If you don't know much about Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation, it will impact every American in this country. It will have a serious impact on every single American in the country. Okay, so I want to jump into Chapter 21 in just 1 second. We finished up Chapter 20 earlier today, which was about the Department of Veterans Affairs. Finished that up, and now we're going to pick up on Chapter 21 and move forward. All right. So this is what it's all about. We want to say no to Project 2025, a mandate for leadership, because that thing is horrendous. It's terrifying, actually. So that's what it's all about, folks. So let's just jump right over right now into Project 2025. Go to Chapter 21, and you can follow me along if you'd like. Okay, so we're sharing the screen now. This is the main web page for Project 2025. It's a Heritage Foundation project that incorporates 80 plus organizations, their thoughts, their input, all of that, and their support for this project to take control of the federal government on day one if a conservative president takes over in 2025, on January the 20th, 2025 at noon Eastern time, when they say, "So help me God." Well, this project will make that transition easier because that president won't have to actually do a lot of the vetting of political appointees across all the different agencies and departments and offices in the executive branch of the federal government. So that's what Heritage is wanting to do, taking this thing and making it into something that makes the job easy. And so if you can get that conservative president in there to agree to all of this, and most of the candidates out there who are out leading the pack right now, they've already bought into this thing. They're pretty much already in line with it. They agree with the stuff that's here. But so Heritage and Project 2025 and their Presidential Training Academy, this thing right here, the Presidential Administration Academy, they've already taken people people have already begun applying for that. And they began actually applying back in the summer. They were doing state fairs in different states in the Midwest, going around asking if people wanted to go ahead and join and apply now for the classes. And, I got an email earlier today that they've completed a number of their training videos already. So those things are accessible, but you have to apply to do it. So, I'm not suggesting that any of you out there can actually go and apply for this thing. I mean, we don't want to overwhelm their system now, do we? Really? So, yeah, take that with a grain of salt. Go do your own research. So anyway, that's the brunt of it, really. So what I wanted to do next is just take a look at the forward to this project again, because I wanted to point out a couple of things in here. And this is what I've been doing at the beginning of all these shows, and everybody knows it. This is page 4. This is the forward written by Dr. Roberts, okay? And it says, I'm going to start right here at this time. This starts with deleting the term sexual orientation, gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender identity, gender equity, awareness, sensitivity, abortion, reproductive rights, reproductive health, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights, as if the rest of us don't have First Amendment protection because, we're up here in one of these, the sexual orientation, gender identity, gender this, gender awareness, reproductive health, abortion, stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that's what they're saying. You don't have First Amendment rights. And they actually build on that and solidify that statement a little bit further down the line in like the next paragraph. But what do they want to do? They want to remove all that stuff, delete it from every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, regulation, piece of legislation that exists. Yep, they're serious. If you don't think Heritage is serious and if you think that Heritage is just something that will go away, you're sadly mistaken. Heritage has been around for 50 years, since the 1970s, okay? The first mandate for leadership they produced was with Ronald Reagan, when he said, "So help me God," on January the 20th, 1981, mandate for leadership was handed over to him. Not as complex and detailed and beautifully thought out as this one, but they were able to accomplish about two-thirds of those, I guess, what we call them, just dreams, aspirational goals that they wanted to accomplish during Reagan's administration. But Reagan had already agreed with this. He was already on board with it anyway. He agreed with it. So he was able to get about two-thirds of it accomplished. To Heritage, that was a failure. But it was also someplace to learn from so that they could keep improving on this. But they never learned the crux of it until 2016 or 2017, whenever President Trump became president of the United States. And they remember how chaotic that was. They weren't able to get anything done. So after Trump left office, a new president of Heritage came on board, Dr. Kevin Roberts, who has a PhD in early American history. He came on board, and he's much, much more strategic and thoughtful in his process. And he looked at that mandate for leadership and said, hey, let's just turn this thing into something where we can train people, we can vet them, we can give them the resources they need, we make the job of the transition team for the president, potential president-elect, easier by having all this stuff done for them. All you have to do is just select some people that we hand them a list of and say, okay, here they are. These are the people who have been trained in this particular office. They understand the nuances of that office. This person's been trained in that office or that department. And these people have been trained to go in there and do the project for the mandate for leadership, the Project 2025. They've been primed to do it, folks. And that's exactly what they want to do. And they use all kinds of tactics down through here, but most of the people who are reading this thing generally are going to be the people who already agree with it. But except for people like me who are going through here and saying, this is not right, folks. This is wrong. This is going to impact every American in the nation. To some degree or another, you will be impacted by what happens right here. Because the crux of this whole document, the crux of this 920 pages, is that they're trying to reduce the administrative state of the executive branch of the federal government. That's what their goal is that they put out there to everybody. They try to make it sound like that's what they want to do, but you have to understand how they want to go about doing it. The way they want to go about doing that is that this new president, if he's conservative, the first thing that new president has to do on day one is implement Schedule F, which is something that Trump did at the end of his administration. And that's when he made all the federal employees at-will employees, okay? So that you can just go and fire them. If you want to put a political appointee in that office, you can replace that expert, literally an expert in the field for that particular office, replace that with an ideologically aligned person who is an appointee of the president, okay? So yeah, that's one of the first things they'll have to do. Excuse me, need to get a drink really quickly. So having said that, that's what they're going to have to do first. Then the next thing they'll have to do is start implementing this, start rolling out, getting the people in places and doing it as fast as possible on that first day. Just go plum, 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 plum. We got all this whole slate of people, put them in there. Those positions that require Senate approval for confirmation, well, if you expect that it's going to be a process before you get somebody in there, well, the other thing they're going to have to do is, make all those positions that require Senate confirmation acting positions. So they can fill it with an acting lead or an active head, They can put somebody in there who is just there. But they can put the person they want in there and call them acting. So if they can do that, if they can go, they're going to do that. It's been done before. It's been done right now. There's many people who are holding positions in government who are there as in an acting capacity. Okay. So they'll continue doing that, but they'll put it on steroids because then you don't have to worry about getting senatorial approval or confirmation because, they're just in an acting role. We'll get that information to you a little bit later when you want it or whenever you demand it, fiercely demand it. And then we may not even, who knows, So they figured out a way to bypass confirmation of many of these senior leader roles across the government without having to get a confirmation from the Senate. So that's what they want to do. And then they're going to go implement this whole thing. Implement this whole darn thing, folks. And I'm not going to spend any more time in the forward because I do want to get over to project 20 or to chapter 21. And we'll jump into the other chapters one at a time. But here's what I want you to get from this. This is what I want you to get from this. Use the little magnifying glass up here in the corner on your PDF documents when you can open it up. Well, I should probably tell you this before I jump in. You can go here to the policy section, the policy tab on Project 2025's page, project2025.org, click policy, scroll down, and you can click on each one of these chapters. Each chapter is downloadable, or if you want to download it all together as one big document, you can click read the mandate. It's free to download it. Go there and do it. Do your own digging into this thing. Go check out words that you think might be of concern to you, that are of a concern to you. And go look. Go tear into it. Find out what is in there. And that's what I've been doing here. We just finished up, as I said earlier, Department of Veterans Affairs. We're now going into the Department of Commerce by Thomas F. Gilman. Okay. So let's do that. Now, I've got my little magnifying glass clicked. I'm going to put up here, let's put something like sex. No references to sex in chapter 21. And it's only looking at chapter 21. Okay. Let's go with gender. No references to gender up there. Let's go with diversity. Diverse. There's two references to diverse functions, and we'll look at the next one just to be sure. In diverse areas. Okay. Let's go back up to the top. And the next word we're going to put in is diversity. Let's see if diversity is in there. No, diversity is not in there. Let's put in LGBT. Nope, no references to LGBT. How about equity? Equity. Nope, no references to equity. And you're going to let this thing do the digging for you because, I mean, there's 920 pages of this thing, and to read every word, it would make you probably go like, oh my goodness, bonkers. Now let's look at another word. Let's see, what other words can we look up here? DE and I. How about SOGI? Nope. Gender's not in there. Sex is not in there. So, Department of Commerce doesn't have any kind of references like that. Let's go with social just to see. There are 3 references to social impacts, okay? And let me see what this one is. There's 3 references in here. Allow a NEPA exemption for fisheries action. All the requirements for robust analysis of the biological, economic, and social impacts of proposed regulatory action in fisheries are contained in the Magnuson-Stevens Act. Okay, let's go to the next one. Click. All right. Abolish the National Advisory Committee and reevaluate all other committees. All right. This is where you find out some of the things they want to do. Okay, just type in these words like social or justice and stick it in and find out. The Census Bureau National Advisory Committee on Racial, Ethnic, and Other Populations was established by the Obama administration in 2012 and rechartered by the Biden administration in 2022. The committee is a hotbed of left-wing activists' intent upon injecting racial and social justice theory into the governing philosophy of the Census Bureau. All right. What does that tell you, folks? They don't want to know how many African Americans are in the country. They don't want to know how many Asian Americans in the country or Polynesian Americans are in the country or whatever. They don't want to know how many LGBT Americans are in this country or transgender Americans. They don't want to count all that. Because, if you don't count it, you don't see it and it doesn't count or doesn't matter. Right? No, it's not injecting any kind of racial or social justice theory into the governing philosophy of the Census Bureau. It's trying to get an accurate count of who's here. But, they just don't want to know how many of us there actually are. Because that could be frightening. Make them feel a certain kind of way, go, oh, I got the vapors. I better go. Calm down. Calm down. Okay. Phew. The NAC, this was the NAC, should be immediately abolished by the incoming administration. The NAC charter gives the Secretary of Commerce the authority to terminate the committee. Since the Secretary of Commerce established the NAC in 2012, the Secretary is authorized to terminate it. Okay. The new administration should also evaluate and potentially abolish all non-statutory standing committees within the Census Bureau, including the Census Scientific Advisory Committee. What the hell for? They don't like science, though. That's what they're trying to show you. They don't care about the science. They don't care about science at all. This entire thing is to go in there and reduce the size of administrative state. You know, the administrators of the federal government across the executive branch. But the other thing they want to make sure they get accomplished too are their social justice issues. Like, they don't want to have any of us be acknowledged. And obviously we're backed up by some science, real science, not that pseudo crap that comes out of Heritage or Ryan Anderson or whomever, Okay, let's find the third reference. Okay, conservative leadership. What is the MBDA? Minority Business Advisory Council establishes that. Okay. All right. Conservative leadership of MBDA should focus the organization on conducting policy analysis on the benefit of free markets, the evils of socialism and communism, and the destructive effect of taxes and regulation on minority businesses. Wow. Wagging and scapegoating and everything just took place right there in that darn phrase. Okay, so that's number 3 for social. Just go look at justice now. Department of Justice. There are 2 references to justice. The other one was down here at social justice theory. We just found that just a minute ago. Okay. Anything else we should look for in there? Let me go back over here to see if there are any comments on that page for it. No. Okay. All right. So let's go back over to, I want to share the page again. Maybe. Oh, we're still sharing. All right, cool. And then go over to here again. So we're still sharing from here. All right. So let's drop out of chapter 21. That's chapter 21. There's not a whole lot in there except for the social justice stuff that they just want to get rid of because it makes them feel a certain way, They just can't stand the fact that there are many different kinds of people who are American. And they certainly don't want to acknowledge them by counting them. 1, 2. Oh my God. If we counted to 10, they'd probably go berserk, right? All right. So let me go back over to this. I'm going to go to Department of the Treasury, number 2. I'm going to increase the size, 22, chapter 22. And here we go. Chapter 22, Project 2025, Mandate for Leadership, Department of the Treasury by William L. Walton, Stephen Moore, and David R. Burton. Okay. So let's go down through here and do the same kind of search tactics we did before. Let's see what's in the Treasury, if they got anything more in there. And Justice is in there, Department of Justice, Homeland Security, talking about that. Let's go down, the rest of it's down the reference section. Okay, so let's type in social and see what this is. Are there any references to social in here? 3 or 4, so let's go back up to 1. Start there. Okay, intermediate tax reform. The Treasury should work with Congress to simplify the tax code by enacting a simple 2-rate individual tax system of 15% and 30% that eliminates most deductions, credits, exclusions. The 30% bracket should begin at or near the Social Security wage base to ensure the combined income payroll tax structure is nearly as flat tax on wage. Okay, so this is all about taxes. All right, so let's go on down to the next one. The next administration should use Treasury's tools and authority to promote investment in domestic energy, even if it kills us, including oil and gas. It should reverse support for international public and private-based efforts promoting environmental, social, and governance and principles for responsible investment, both of which have badly damaged U.S. energy security. Bullshit. As if those industries haven't already damaged our nation in terms of the environment. There's got to be a way to balance all this stuff out, to take care of your income and all the money that you want in the world, but still protect the environment. Got to be a way to do that, right? In other words, Personally, I think it should be done that way. Kind of balance the things out. Let's find a way to do this, because we don't want to hand off to our children a planet that's worse than it was today. Do we? I don't know. That's just me. My opinions. Social Security. Okay. Let's go on down to the next one. This was down in the reference section. Okay, so next let's type in the favorite one, sex. Let's see if sex is mentioned one time. Okay. Expose and make public all training materials and initiatives designed to single out any race, ethnicity, or sex for special treatment. They don't want to see you, folks. I mean, if you're an African American, they don't want to see you. They don't want to know anything about what drives you or what impacts your wellness and health and well-being and thriving. No, they don't want us to do that. This stuff is gross, folks. Really is. Jeez. Okay, and here's another one. The administration should eliminate the 25-member Treasury Advisory Committee on Racial Equity. Bullshit. I'll just call it like it is. No. I mean, we've got African Americans who can now today tell you all about what redlining is. They can explain to you things like, the massacre that occurred in Oklahoma, because there were a group of African Americans who were too prosperous. So they destroyed the whole community and killed a bunch of people. No, when you know something, this is actually needed. Okay, sex. Sex is only in there once, like that. Let's see, gender. Let's see what gender has for us. There's no reference to gender. Let's go with, what do you think? Let's go with diversity. Yeah, here we go. Okay, the equity agenda. Yeah, look at this. The equity agenda. Under the Biden administration, the Treasury Department has appointed a counselor for racial equality, established the Advisory Committee on Racial Equality, and created the Office for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Accessibility. All these should be eliminated. There you go. In writing. They don't give a damn about how diverse America is. They think if you can just whitewash the whole thing, and just make it all look like the same, even though if you peel the paint back just a layer, you'll find out that there's nothing about every individual in this country that's identical to somebody else. But no, you don't want to see that, though. I mean, you don't even want to count it, much less acknowledge it exists. Come on. I mean, that's just a bridge too far for them, right? Treasury has created several new offices to promote equity and has made this its first of 5 strategic goals in its fiscal year 2022, that should be 2026 strategic plan. Equity is identified as a cross-cutting theme in 15 of 19 of the plan's objectives. Good. Leave it. Grow up. Okay, that's my thinking. Let's find diversity again. Oh, here we go. Okay, now what are we looking at here? Oh, let's back to the equity agenda again. Okay, the avowed purpose here. The avowed purpose of these initiatives is to implement policies that deliberately favor some races or ethnicities over others. No, it's not. It's just trying to level the damn playing field. The casual acceptance and rapid spread of racist policy making in the federal government must be forcefully opposed and reversed. The next conservative administration should take affirmative steps to expose and eradicate the practice of critical race theory and diversity, equity, and inclusion throughout the Treasury Department. These steps will include identify every Treasury official who participated in DEI initiatives and interview him or her. Now, look, they did him or her because they didn't want to use them, because that would make it sound like they're accepting of diversity. Don't tell anybody. But they only believe in the binary. And then it's only a very strict binary based on anatomical sex. Not even really genetic sex, but it's more like just the observance of anatomical sex. So it's he, him to them, okay? They don't see anything else. Of course they don't. for the purpose of determining the scope and nature of these initiatives and to ensure that such initiatives are completely ended. Make public immediately all communications relating to the work of the Treasury's critical race theory and DEI initiatives, diversity, equity, inclusion. Treat the participation in any, treat the participation in critical race theory or DEI initiative without objecting to constitutional moral grounds as per se grounds for termination of employment. Holy crap, folks. They're serious about this stuff. Expose and make public. Expose and make public all training materials initiatives designed to single out any race, ethnicity, or sex for special treatment. We saw that one before. Okay, so you can see in here exactly how radical and extreme this document is. This is radical. This is even more than that, folks. This is authoritarianism, theocratic, fascist authoritarianism. And I choose those words carefully because if you don't know what the definition of those words are, look them up. If you don't know what fascism is, how you can quantify fascism and how far along that scale you might be, go look up some work by Lawrence Britt, B-R-I-T-T. He wrote something in 2003, 2004 that gives 14 bullet points, basically, of what it means or what are the characteristics of a fascist nation. Go check it out. You'll find every single one of them met in here. Okay. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac must be wound down in an orderly manner. A common scrutinization platform. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Okay. Barriers to private investment must be removed and pave the way for a robust private market. Okay. Yeah. Unregulated private market. Absolutely. Go for it. Yeah. Right. Fraud is on the horizon for that one. Okay. So that is chapter number, what do you say? 22. Let's go to chapter 23. Let's see what's in 23. Okay. Let's get rid of that. We'll go to 23. This is the Export-Import Bank. All right, there's a couple of different things you're looking at here. One of them is the Export-Import Bank should be abolished and the case of the Export-Import Bank. So let's go take a look in this one and see what we can find. Let me increase the size. Now you see what I'm doing, right? I'm just using the search button, going through here, finding the terms that are appropriate to what we're trying to find. So let's see, are there any words that have diverse in them? No. Are there any words that have sex in them? No. How about gender? Gender. Sure. No references with gender. Let's go with equity. No words with equity. Okay, and this is in the whole document, by the way. Let's go with abortion. Nope, abortion is not in there either. So this document really has nothing in it, per se, that is applicable to what we're looking for. Okay. Now, so let's go back to the next chapter, and that would be the Federal Reserve. Let's go over here and take a look at the Federal Reserve. Get rid of that and magnify this slightly. This is chapter 24. Okay. So let's go through and do the same thing again here. We're just looking to see what we can find. Let's put in sex. No references to sex. Gender. No references to gender. Let's go with inclusion. No references to inclusion. How about equity? There's one reference to equity. Okay. A far less harmful alternative is to focus the Federal Reserve on protecting the dollar and restraining inflation. This can mitigate economic turmoil, perhaps in conjunction with government spending. Fiscal policy can be more effective if it is timely, targeted, and temporary. An example from the COVID-19 pandemic is the Paycheck Protection Program, which sustained businesses far more effectively than near zero interest rates, which mainly aided asset markets and housing prices. It is also worth noting that the problem of the dual mandate may worsen with new pressure on the Federal Reserve to include environmental or redistributionist equity goals in its policymaking, which will likely enable additional federal spending. Okay, so there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts in that one. Okay, There's only one reference to equity. Let's go with what else? Abortion. I already looked that up. I think I did. Yeah. Okay. There's nothing in this chapter that really is impactful to what we're looking for. So let's go into the next chapter, which is Small Business Administration. Let's see what we have in this chapter. Oops. Must have been in here before. Let's go back to the top of the page, scroll up, chapter 24, Federal Reserve by Paul Winfrey. And let's go check. I'm going to type in sex. No references to sex. Gender. No references to gender. Let's go with, what are we looking for? Equity. Equity? Oh, they already got that one in here too. They included this sentence in this chapter. The Federal Reserve, pressures on the Federal Reserve to include. Okay. All right. Let's go. There's only one reference to that one. Is there anything else we want to look for? I think not. No. All right. Let me see if there's a word I need to look up. I need to turn off my phone. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Let me go to the next chapter now. So we got 2 chapters there out of the way. Let's go back over to here. Have a small business. Let's go look in trade. Trade administration, or the trade. Yeah, not trade administration, but trade. We're going to go look for trade. 26, trade. Let me blow up this size. Let's increase this and magnify it slightly. This is written by Peter Navarro. And here we go. Let me go look into this. Chapter 26 by Peter Navarro, The Case for Fair Trade. And there's another one down here that has a case, whatever. There's another one. Case for free enterprise or something like that. Abortion. Any references to abortion in this? No. How about sex? No references to sex. No references to gender. Diverse. Nothing with diverse. Nothing with diversity. Equity. Let's take a look at that. EQUITY. Okay. It is not just conservatives who overestimate, let's start right here. It is not just conservatives who overestimate the power of trade policy. In recent progressive attempts to use trade policy to advance whole of government initiatives on climate, equity, and other issues, will fail for the same reason that a hammer cannot turn a screw. What the heck? Okay. It is the wrong tool for the job. Conservatives should be similarly skeptical of recent attempts on the right to use progressive trade policy to punish political opponents. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Anything else on this one? I think we've kind of hit it all with that, haven't we? Okay. So there's nothing in chapter 26, folks. Now let's go down here to the independent regulatory agencies. This is section 5. Okay. Chapter 27. Let's see what's in this one. By David R. Burton. All right. This is 27. Remember that. This is 27. Equity. All right. Discrimination. Let's start at the top of this sentence, or the top of this paragraph. Let me go see. Regulatory oversight policy. Detailed. Okay. Discrimination based on immutable characteristics has no place in financial regulation. Offices at financial regulators that promote racist policies, usually in the name of diversity, equity, inclusion, and that's such a load of crap. It should be abolished, and regulations that require appointments on the basis of race, ethnicity, sex, or sexual orientation should be eliminated. No. Equal protection of the law, equal opportunity, and individual merit should govern regulatory decisions. Oh my God. Okay. There's 3 references to equity in this thing. Now the next 2 are down in the reference section. Okay. So let's go with, let's look at sex. Let's see if sex is mentioned in here anywhere. It's mentioned 4 times. And we know about that one right there. It's 2 of them are right here and the one we just read. Okay. So let's go down and down to the next one. Prohibit securities regulators, including SROs, from promulgating rules or taking other actions that discriminate, either favorably or unfavorably, on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, such as of such individual or group. Okay, let's go on down to number 4. down in the reference section. Okay. We already looked at gender, I think, didn't we? No, gender is not in there. ABORTION. Abortion is not in there. Let's go with social. Prohibit the SEC from requiring issuer disclosure of social, ideological, political, or human capital information that is not material to investors' financial, economic, or pecuniary risk or returns. The proposed SEC climate change rule, which would quadruple the cost of being a public company, is particularly problematic. Okay. Oppose efforts to redefine the purpose of business in the name of social justice, incorporate social responsibility or corporate social responsibility, shareholder theory, environmental, social, and governance criteria, socially responsible investing, sustainability, diversity, business ethics, or common good capitalism. Shoot, these people are screwed up. They're really just screwed up. Okay. Oh my God. And this one also says the same kind of thing again. All right. So that's 1 of 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We just read about that one. All right. There we go, folks. We're doing it again. I think that's it in that chapter. The next chapter down would be, which one are we in? Federal Communications Commission. Okay. Federal Communications Commission, 28. This was 27, right? Yes. Okay. We're about to make it through the whole darn document. It's taken us a week and a half. Let me increase the size slightly. Let's go take a look in this. What do we have? Social. Okay. Impose transparency rules on big tech. Here we go. Impose transparency rules on big tech. Today, big tech offers a black box. After Google manipulates search results, a small business can see its web traffic drop precipitously overnight for no apparent reason, potentially flipping its outlook from black to red. On Facebook, social media posts are left up or taken down, accounts suspended or permanently banned without any apparent consistency. Out of the blue, YouTube can demonetize individuals who have risked their capital and invested their labor to build online businesses. Okay, let's go on down. There's 3 references to social. This is about social media laws again there. That's about social media laws there. Let's go back up here to equity and see if equity is in here. No reference to equity. Diversity. Okay. Mission statement. The FCC should promote freedom of speech, unleash economic opportunity, ensure that every American has a fair shot at next generation connectivity, and enable the private sector to create good paying jobs through pro-growth reforms that support a diversity of viewpoints. Fine. No, nothing wrong with that one. Okay. Rein in big tech. Here's the other one. The FCC has an important role to play in addressing the threats to individual liberty posed by corporations that are abusing dominant positions in the market. Nowhere is that clear when it comes to big tech and its attempt to drive diverse political viewpoints from the digital town square. Well, no, any attempt to do that, I think, is wrong. If a business or an organization is out to limit diverse views in the public square, as long as those diverse views do not include, promotion of violence or support, immediate material support of, terrorist groups like Hamas. As long as it doesn't include that, sure, I mean, you can put your political viewpoints out in the digital town square anytime you want. I think you already can. All right, so that's it for that one. Let me go see if there's anything else in this chapter. Probably not. I think we covered it all. All right, let's go with Chapter 29, the Federal Election Commission. Here we go. Let's magnify this one. Not likely to be too much in this, but yeah, you can be surprised. Diverse. 0 references to diverse. Let's go with sex. No. Gender. Equity. Equity. No references to equity either. So We can go on down through here and get out of that one. Let's go find 30. Federal Trade Commission. Let's see what this one has to say. What do you think? You're with me? Got a few minutes left to go here. Federal Trade Commission by Adam Kandub. Okay. Federal Trade Commission. Let's check this. Equity and inclusion. Okay. All right. Here we go. ESG, which we looked at a minute ago. What does it stand for? Environmental, social, and governance practices as a cover for anti-competitive activity and possible unfair trade practices. It has long been suspected and is now increasingly documented that corporate social advocacy on issues ranging from diversity, equity, inclusion to the environment, social, and governance movement also serves to launder corporate reputation and perhaps obtain favorable treatment from government actors. Okay. In a recent Senate Judiciary hearing, Senator Josh Hawley, oh my God, why would you even reference Josh Hawley for anything? That guy is just nuts and wacko. From Missouri? Yeah, he's an extremist, literally. Asked FTC Chair Lena Khan if the FTC had conditioned merger reviews on ESG or critical race theories adopted by the firms involved. Khan responded by saying that she turned down deals when firms offered social justice policies in return for approving unlawful deals. Okay, yeah, that's fine. In response to a similar question from Senator Tom Cotton, Khan responded that firms try to come to the FTC to get out of antitrust liability by offering climate, diversity, and other forms of ESG type offerings, but that there is no ESG loophole in the antitrust laws. Okay. All right. Let's go on down. There's 2 references to equity. I think that's probably it right there. Let's go with gender. No references to gender, sex. Oh, there are 2 references to sex, and that's number 1. It's down the reference section. Oh, wait. Let me go back up to this one. Oh, okay. All right. Let's go find something else we can look up. Did we already look up equity? I think we did, didn't we? Yeah, we did that. Diverse, DIVERS. And there are 2 references to diverse. Okay. All right. So this one is not really totally crazy. Not national. Let's see, the Federal Trade Commission. Let's go down to the onward section. This is the end, the afterword. It's called onward. They chose that word deliberately because they don't want to think of this as an afterword as in an ending, but as in a beginning. So it's called Onward by Edward J. Fulner, one of the original founders, by the way, of Heritage Foundation. Let's go see what Edward J. Fulner has to say. Let's see if there's anything in this document, and it's only 5 pages long. Diverse, no references to diverse. Social. Okay. Recommendations range from internal bureaucratic reorganizations to plans to implement scientific, fundamental changes in every imaginable policy area, from tax and regulatory reform to strengthening national defense and reforming social programs. They're talking about social welfare programs, the ones that many seniors rely on to live. All were carefully crafted, vetted, and pieced together. They're talking about this document. All right, so let me go see if there are anything about equity in here. Nope, no references to equity. How about gender? Probably not. No. Let's go with, did we just look up social equity? Yes. Yeah. So there's basically nothing down here in the onward that's horribly offensive. Okay. Phew. Oh, let me see. That's why today, Heritage President Kevin Roberts, Project 2025 Director Paul Dans, the whole Heritage team of more than 50 organizations at the time of this writing, now there are more than 80, and more than 360 experts, so actually more than 400 now, from throughout the conservative movement have come together to continue the mandate for leadership tradition of creating policy solutions to solve the biggest issues facing America. Here we go. The biggest issues for solutions based on the core principles of free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. All those things look pretty good on the surface, except that one, they don't want to limit the government such that it helps minorities in the country. Individual freedom, it only means individual freedom if you are like them, you're not like me. Traditional American values, well, yeah, no, don't. That means man, woman, married with children and work. Let me see, philanthropy and more work. Strong national defense. You always got to throw that in there. Oh my gosh. So anyway, so we've gone through the whole document over the past week and a day, I think, basically. And you can go download all this stuff yourself, go check it out, go read it for yourself. But I'm thinking about doing an individual kind of high impact things for each chapter where there are issues that we need to address them. So with that, let me go back over and just stop sharing on this page, go back to where you are, sit here, and I'm looking at you. There's no comments. So with that, I'm going to throw up the flag, not the white one, this one. And on top of that, I'm going to show you that one. Say no to Project 2025, folks. Say no to that. We're going to put the flag back up there. And as we do that, have a great evening, everyone. Come back tomorrow noon Eastern and 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a great evening.